I was born in Seattle, Washington, but been in Mesa, Arizona since I was 1. I grew up at the young age of about 4 starting gymnastics and did that for about 10 years competitively and quit due to a back injury, and then continued in diving and track in high school. And then in college I did some snowboarding competitively and some sprint triathlons, as well as powerlifting competitively for 3 years, just bench press and deadlift. And about 10 years ago I started doing gymnastics coaching at the place I used to be at called Desert Devils Gymnastics in Mesa, and been coaching about 10 years. I work with all age groups. I'm the director for all the little kids, about the 1.5 to 5-year-olds, and also work with any age group. I've done adults as old as 55, and I got into the parkour movement through a friend of mine who'd been coaching some classes, and I went to one of Francesco's classes at ASU about 1.5 years ago and did my first parkour class, and I loved it. And that kind of got me interested more into it, and then I started teaching classes with Sarah, my friend, and doing classes at a park in Gilbert, Arizona, and incorporating that into my training with my athletes, with my gymnasts and my other tumblers and adult gymnasts that want to learn different tricks. And I think it's just been a lot of fun to get into that field, and I'm just fascinated by everything about parkour and free running and tricking and everything else. I think competition is one of those things that allows individuals to show their talent and kind of push them to a different level. I know for me personally, I've always hated competition. I don't like it. Even when I was younger as a gymnast, I hated it. I was terrified. I didn't even like my parents or family coming to watch me compete or videotape me or take pictures because I was so afraid. And I know that it was really hard for me, but as I got older, I started to force myself into scenarios of, I guess, growing for me. It forced me to grow, to not be afraid in front of people. That, as a result, allowed me, I did a few pageants, because not for the beauty aspect of it, but it allowed me to make me grow in a way I couldn't in any other way. And I think that's what competition can do for some people. And others, they just have it. I have a lot of friends over the years that were just super competitive. They drove and just lived off of competition. And I was the first person to avoid it, even though everything I did sport-wise had some type of competition. But by doing the pageants and then also competing in snowboarding and powerlifting, it kind of got me out of my comfort zone. And it forced me into situations where I was able to grow in no other way, as I mentioned before. And it's allowed me to explore new options, such as doing the triathlons and doing the parkour and gymnastics, and not being as afraid to be in front of people and have fun with it at the same time. And even if I don't enjoy the competition aspect, for me it's something that I do because it helps me just continue to grow as an individual. And I think that's what parkour can do as well with a lot of people, whether they're afraid to perform in front of people or whether they love it. I think that there's a fit for everyone, and it allows you to show your uniqueness and your talent, as well as kind of push yourself to the extreme. And I haven't competed in parkour down the road. I hope to. But I think, again, that competition in general is good for any person. I think for a lot of people, it can put you in your place. There's almost always going to be someone better than you, and there's almost always going to be someone worse than you. And there are some really talented people out there, but you're almost always going to find someone that can outdo you in one area that you're not as good in. And so I think it's good to be competitive by nature and to do competitions, because you realize where your strengths are, but also your weaknesses, which allows you to capitalize on your strengths, but develop your weaknesses, and at the same time see others that are talented in another way that you're not. And it kind of can give you that little bit of humble pie that sometimes you need, so you're not carrying this ego around that you're better than everyone else around. That I can stand on my head, even though I'm 35 years old. The most important thing. Dedication and hard work, I think, is huge. Just knowing how to work hard, challenge your body, challenge everything about your life and whatnot, and just have fun with it. I think there's so much to be had in life, or just enjoying life, challenging yourself, having fun, and trying new things that are just hard, and then accomplishing those goals and just working toward them. I think cross-training is critical. I know for me personally, because I grew up in a very diverse sports background, from doing tumbling and gymnastics when I was very young, to dance, to ballet, tap, then also diving, that it gave me a real good foundation. Obviously at a young age I did commit to a certain sport, which was gymnastics, until I was 14. And after that I was able to go right back into diving and track and field as well. And in college I was able to go right back into starting a new sport, powerlifting, for 3 years competitively, as well as snowboarding competitively, and going same thing in 2 different sports, such as sprint triathlons, and eventually parkour and other aspects of different sports. But because I have that wide variety of sports in my background, I'm able to kind of do a lot of different things that others can't. I know that some friends of mine that were gymnasts, they could only do gymnastics. They couldn't do anything else. They just had such a mindset of, this is how the vault, bars, beam, and floor work. And they weren't able to do like a dive, for example. It scared them, or they just didn't get the concept. And I'm thankful that I had that background growing up, because it gave me that variety that has built a foundation. And same thing as an adult, I think cross-training in a variety of forms is going to be beneficial in any way. And whether you're training to be into parkour, if you're doing CrossFit activities, or doing different personal training, or taking a gymnastics class, they all kind of integrate with each other and benefit you. And it's all about becoming aware of your body and developing those strengths that you wouldn't through just doing the same Kong vault every single day. But if you do different sports, you're going to be able to be more aware of your body and perform better. Definitely. I got my degree from ASU in exercise science and wellness, and some of the classes I took studied the psychology of the brain. And studies have proven time and time again that through hand-eye coordination skills and physical activity, your brain is developed in a way that you can't by doing just math or just reading arithmetic or whatever. And so again, I think it's that combination of the two that really helps. You need the physical as well as the mental, and they tie in together. And I see the economic aspect, but there are so many studies that have been done, again, with, for example, physical education classes in the schools. It's so critical, I think, to keep that in the schools, because kids need the physical activity. They need to get their energy out. They need to develop that mind-body awareness, that connection that's going to create those neurological pathways to develop the brain in a different way. And so I think it is very critical to focus on athletics in some way. Whether you're a bookworm, I think it's still important to get the physical activity, and that helps you learn to read better or to memorize easier, etc. And the body is just amazing, and I think we need to use it more to the effect of building the mental aspect along with the physical, and everyone will be, I think, in general, they'll just be happier. Again, with physical exercise, the benefits of just working out is far better than not doing anything physical. And so I'm big on just people being explorative, in the sense of just go in your backyard and run around and climb the wall and jump and climb the tree or whatever. Like, that's what I grew up doing, and I loved it. And I think more kids need to be doing that these days, and in the form of anything, whether it is movement or a sport, they just need to get out and move. And I think parents, if they did that, and also youth and adults, if people just start moving, even 5 more minutes a day, I really think they're going to just start to feel better. And I've been a personal trainer for about 15 years, And I've seen the benefits of people just incorporating 5 minutes a day of exercise, from just feeling better, having more energy, going throughout their daily activities easier, to just feeling like they can do something and cut down the risk for diseases and cancers at the same time. I guess always knowing that when I challenge people, they kind of rise to the occasion, as most of us do, but it inspires me that I'm able to help people accomplish their goals and challenge them in a new way and kind of push them. I know with me being a coach of the 1.5 to 5-year-olds for about 10 years now, it's been amazing to see if I set their expectation up here, they reach it. But if I set it up here, they also reach it. And over the years of coaching, whether it be an adult or a young kid, I've been able to push those boundaries and build self-confidence in a way that I wouldn't with other things. And there's that fine line of pushing them too much to where, they're not enjoying it. But I'm able to read kids enough and adults to know where that point is, which has been a blessing to me, but it allows me to kind of push them and inspire them, which thus inspires me to become a better person by helping them become a better person and accomplishing things in their life that they never thought was possible. And I've had a lot of adult clients over the years come in and say, hey, I'm 45 now. When I was a teenager, I always wanted to do back handspring and I never got the chance to. Can you teach it to me? And it might take a month, might take a couple weeks, but when they learn it, there's just that, there's nothing like seeing them smile and just be like, thank you. Have I ever been injured? Oh, let me count how many times I've been injured. I'm injured right now. I've been injured a lot, which has been really hard. I had to quit gymnastics because I had 2 spinal fractures, which was okay at the time. I loved gymnastics, but at 14, being in it for 10 years, and being injured over the years numerous times, I needed a break. My body needed a break, and I had to take a year off to let it heal. I've had a lot of injuries since then as well, but you just go with the flow. You just keep moving forward, and you take the time off you need and give your body the rest it needs, and do other activities that you can in the meantime. But that's part of life, and unfortunately I'm one of those people that get hurt, or I get hurt a lot, and I have other friends that have never had a broken bone or a sprained ankle, and they were gymnasts for 15 years. So that's how I am. So I've just learned to accept it and deal with it, and it gets frustrating at times, but you just work through it. That's how life is. I guess in a way I try and be all 3 of those. Obviously, I'm a teacher by nature. I've been teaching since I was 14 years old. My first job was teaching swimming lessons, and I've been doing that for 21 years. And so, in all ways, I guess in all aspects of my life, I try and be a teacher, whether it's through my example of, I guess, making good choices, or an example to others by showing them what they can do with regards to different sports or activities, or just teaching in general people how to do things that they thought were impossible or just hard, or just teaching people gymnastics and swimming lessons or whatever they're wanting to learn, diving, snowboarding. From any sport I've ever done, I've always definitely seen myself as a teacher. Yet at the same time, I like to set myself apart and not be just a teacher, but also be a leader through my teaching, because I want to set the standard high and be very knowledgeable. And I want to be a person, I guess, that people remember, and not be like, oh yeah, there's a coach, but I don't remember her name. I want people to be like, oh, there's this coach, and her name is Beth, and she totally taught me this trick, and she's awesome to work with. And that doesn't necessarily drive me, but I want to have a good name for myself and be represented well. And I guess practitioner, again, I guess by nature I'm a practitioner, just because I obviously have to do certain things in order for people to know how to do things. And I'm not necessarily practicing every day what I'm doing. I coach, 6 days a week and a half for years, but I think definitely me, as myself, I want to be a teacher and a leader and have people look up to me and also inspire them. And it's been really cute. I've had a few kids, 3 or 4 years old over the years that would be like, Coach Beth, guess what I want to be when I grow up? I'll be like, what? Like, I want to be a gymnastics coach just like you. And I think that's just adorable and just fun and cute. So, yeah. I always try to tell people to stay positive and be brave. Because when that fear factor kicks in, that's when you start to obviously break down a little bit and you get afraid, and then you let your fears overcome you, and then it kind of prevents you from growing. And I think that's part of the factor of like kind of being competitive, where it kind of again forces you into situations that are hard or scary, but you just kind of make yourself do it, and then you overcome it, and it kind of builds that foundation, and you get more and more brave and more positive or whatever. And for me, there's a lot of things that I've done for years that are a piece of cake for me. I don't have to think about it. But there's things that, especially with parkour, that's new to me, that I have to really challenge myself, and I have to overcome those fears. And through teaching some of my classes and my private lessons, I've been able to kind of force myself into those situations and do things that I was terrified to do. But I'm like, okay, I gotta set the example for the kids. And if they see me overcome my own fears, that will help them overcome their fears. And that's been, I guess, a great teaching tool for me, is to just stay positive and be brave myself, and that will help other people do the same. And then I can relate to them, hey, I was terrified to do this new trick, but I stayed positive, I really focused on it, and was, believed in myself, and I was able to do it. And I know if you do the same thing, that you'll be able to overcome those fears and learn that standing back flip if you want, or that back flip on beam, or whatever it is. And so I guess it's an ongoing process, and I guess I just keep pushing myself to try and learn things, obviously within boundaries. I don't like getting hurt, and I get hurt a lot, so I have to be careful with my boundaries because I've always tended to push them. And so, as you get older, you don't recover as faster either. And so I have to be careful with that, but I still push it to the limit as much as I can. And as a result, I do things that I thought I never could do, and I have fun with it.